I wonder if any of the survey tools let you put an app on your phone that tells you how many responses you've received.
I'll bet it does.
It
does it really?
Yes, yeah. There's a survey. There's a Survey Monkey and one other one does that. You can have an app on your phone that gives you like your current survey stats.
See, and I think that would be bad.
Oh, that would be annoying.
I was going to say really quick, I logged into that Qualtrics account. It was very easy to get an account set up.
Yeah.
I mean, like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You log in with your regular stuff and faculty, staff, and students. Yeah, we can use it for our stuff.
Yeah, I looked at purchasing Qualtrics account for the Air Force.
Probably really expensive.
Yeah, $25,000 a year.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Survey Monkey, by the way, is $300 a year.
Yeah.
I'm going to check out this one that Janae was referring to yesterday that USM has.
Yeah, that's
Qualtrics.
That's what I was saying. It took me 3 minutes to set up an account.
And that's normally 25,000, is it?
25,000 for a minimal license.
Yeah. Wow. The university has a license for it, and they probably did get a pretty big discount.
Wow. Look, Christy's going in right now.
Yeah, I'm sure the university got a
We
huge
use it
discount.
for our Career Services Center, and it's good on the back end. Once you want to go back and reflect to old data, they have a really nice system for archiving
that's so good.
Yep, and so if you're doing a survey, look into Qualtrics. I mean, why pay even $200 a year for one?
Qualtrics is a good system. It's a very robust system.
It's just right here on my phone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Yep, that's the thing. A lot of the survey tools now, they'll actually create the survey in a form that can be used on a smartphone.
Yep. Both Qualtrics and Survey Monkey are mobile friendly.
One of them, I think it was Janae telling me that Qualtrics, if you put stuff in your survey that's going to be difficult to render on a phone, Qualtrics will tell you as you're building your questions. So you can see, well, Qualtrics is saying this won't display very well on a phone. You can think about different ways to do the question.
And Survey Monkey, because it's a web-based service, they just don't use code that's not used on mobile devices. So they only allow you to use things that will display well on phone.
Yep.
I can build the survey on here.
That's amazing.
I mean, my mind is blown. It's got a quick survey builder. Don't know where to start. Pick a survey template from a variety of categories. Create a copy of a survey that you've already done. And then in your home page, it will, you can view your results, email the survey. Yeah, I mean, it's.
Wow. So, yep, so you have control over a lot of things with those tools.
That's what it looks like.
That's great.
There's one.
I would actually, some of them have a slider, and I don't know if SurveyMonkey does.
I've seen those, yeah.
But that could be an effective way to transform an ordinal to something more interval-like, where they can just on a continuous scale pick thing.
I was thinking about that. Would you treat that as scale data?
It would depend on a few factors, and I don't remember all the rules, but there are references out there that talk about how far apart the anchors have to be numerically, and so you'd have to look at that as one of the issues before you actually go and treat it as interval. So if it's just -3 to +3 or 0 to 6, it probably wouldn't be a good interval measure, but it just depends on how you set it up. And there'll always be disagreement among people. So if you're doing something like that in your dissertation, you'll have to cite the survey or research that says you can treat it that way. Okay, another of the assumptions, random sample. We talked about random samples. We know that a lot of times Janae avoided using the word convenience sample over there, but someone popped that up. Convenience samples, they've been used a lot, but if you can structure your sample so that there's some intentional design to it, that's better than just saying, well, I went to this group in this classroom and asked them questions.
All right. So for the data that I want to use, we have every training base has got an office that goes out and conducts a survey, and their instructions are to give the survey to one class per squadron per month at random. Well, the fact that I put limitations on them, saying one class per squadron per month, means it's not random.
Yeah.
So there's not a and I know for a fact these people are not going to walk into a class of students that have only been on the base 2 weeks or are going to graduate in 2 weeks. They're going to try to hit somebody in the middle. So I know it's not truly random.
Yeah.
So what do I?
A lot of it is explaining that. You'll explain that I'm using a secondary data source. It's not stuff I collected. Here are the parameters for how it typically is collected. So you might talk about midway through the training program, random squad, and things like that, so that people know the context. And because most people don't do truly random samples in their dissertations. For example, Jim Black in he was looking at the use of a call center tool, and he had a lot of people participating, but they were all from one company. And so that right there eliminates a huge number of people who work in call centers. They were all in the US. And so that's another problem with the sample. But it was a sample that he could get access to. It's difficult to go to other companies' call centers and give people surveys. So you have to explain any things you did to gather your sample data. That's in research design. That's one of the places you'll talk about this. You'll say, I gathered my sample by doing blah, blah, blah. Here are some potential limitations from gathering the data that way. So it's better to explain it first than to have someone, when you're at your final defense, say, wait a minute.
You didn't do it this way.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Data's gone.
Yeah.
And hopefully,
to explain it, then it has those holes in it.
yeah, and have them be fatal holes as far as a dissertation defense goes. And hopefully you wouldn't get that far. That's one of the reasons why people yesterday were talking about the rigor being in the proposal defense. By the time you get through the proposal defense, you're probably going to feel like you've been thrown down in the mud and the horses have stomped all over you, and you're going to be worn out for two reasons. One, you've been working a lot on your proposal right up until the day you send it out. Then the second reason is everyone's going to be in one room, and that'll be the first time normally everyone is in one room looking at your proposal. And people are going to spot things that they didn't see before. But the thing to shoot for is walking out of the room with all the signatures on your, yes, you passed the proposal stage. But even when you pass that proposal stage, you're going to have modifications to make. And I would say I've never seen anyone have huge modifications, but people generally have a month or more of work to do after they pass the proposal to get it to a point where then they can work on the rest of the dissertation. But once you do that, hopefully you've essentially got a script. Here's how I'm going to collect my data, here's the instrument I'm going to use. You run that, you do the Dillman stuff to get the responses in if it's a survey. At the end of it all, collecting the data, you're going to go through the statistical analysis. You're going to know for research objective 1, here's the test I'm going to do, here's the output. And so you just go follow the script. And I was amazed at how quickly some of the people in the spring, they did their proposals in the fall. By spring, they were ready to defend their final do their final defense.
Is that bad?
No, it was a good thing. It was because their proposal was so well structured that once they had it done, they submit their IRB paperwork. Once they get that back, they just could follow exactly what they said they were going to do. And so, but a lot of times people do run into problems, and that can slow them down a little bit. Yeah. So I think we're seeing fewer and fewer people running into problems during data collection. Part of it is, we're becoming more rigid on the proposal, making sure that it's good to go, even before you can get to the proposal defense. So a lot of stuff goes into research design. Now, another thing is linearity and additivity, and basically, in many of our studies, regression, for example, is a big one. We're looking to see if there's linearity to the data. And so we can check that in various ways. First, a lot of times, one of the things people do is a plot and look to see what kinds of patterns are in it. And I guess I didn't put what the X and Y mean. But if you look at this plot, it's very clear that there's a linear relationship. It's going beep, 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 beep. No. No, it doesn't look linear at all to me.
Looks like a shotgun pattern.
Yeah. So this one, I wish I had put what the residuals are about. Then we can have things like this. Some of these I picked up off the internet, and we see, well, this is not linear.
Pattern.
Yeah, there's a neat pattern, and it may be, and I'll talk briefly about transformations later, it may be that we can do a transformation so that it can be analyzed as linear data. Sometimes when you have a nice pattern, transformations work. Same thing over here. This one's not linear, and this one suffers from another problem in that the little graph gets wider and narrower in its run quite a bit more than this one did. So that looks like there may be problems with variance in the data.